Follow the people who really know what they're doing. That's all I do. Ray said to me, "Have you ever seen me broke?" I said, "No." He said, "Did you ever see me sick?" I never had. He said, "Do you think I'm a happy guy?" I said, "Yeah." Well, he said, "You know, you got to be one of the most miserable people I've ever met, Bob." And he said, "You're always broke." Yet he said, "You're always sick." He said, "Your way's not working. Why don't you try mine?"
Your mind can conceive and believe your mind can achieve.
I have seen so many changes take place in people's lives. If you go over it often enough, you'll be just as convinced as I am.
I'll never forget it. It started on a Friday night, and I go in the seminar room and I sit down, and out walks on stage Bob Proctor. I didn't even know who he was, but the minute he started talking, it was like someone took my head off, shook it around, and put it back on, and everything I thought was true was just like upside down.
I met Bob 9 years ago. I was really at the bottom. I was $150,000 in debt, and he said, "If you'll do exactly what I tell you to do, everything will change."
So I remember when I first started being mentored by Bob, he's like, "You got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone, or if not, you're going to continue to stay stuck."
Mikey Seller here was a nanny, no business experience when she came to work with our company. She's the chief operating officer of our company today. And it's by studying this material.
Any of the people that work in our company, you're going to find out they are genuinely nice people. This is not a common or a normal environment. You've got people that have come from all different walks of life. They've come from various different parts of the world, and they've all come for the same reason. There's something in here that's attracting them. There's something they're in harmony with. There's something they want to get.
Spirit is for expansion and fuller expression. We always want to expand in a bigger way. We want to introduce ourselves to a part of ourselves we never even knew was there.
You got to take massive action. If you guys are going to create what you're capable of creating, you have got to go out and do. Like Emerson says, do the thing will give you power.
You see, when you work at this kind of a business, as many years as I've worked at it, you see a lot of different things. Follow the people who really know what they're doing. That's all I do. This is those crazy dreams. It's a level of vibration. It's called a frequency. Like a plant, anything has an energy. Everything moves, nothing rests. Everything's energy. Well, you're a mass of living energy, a very high speed of vibration. There's an infinite number of frequencies. You're dealing with infinite. No beginning, no end. What happened? How come you got so good at helping other people?
Where you said the key to earning money and being successful was just leave everybody better off than you found them.
You're here, you want to go here. You make the decision, and it's a committed decision. You're automatically on that higher level of frequency. You're in tune now with the thoughts, with the ideas, with the resources, the people that can help you get what you want.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 4 of Millionaire Frequency. I'm Mikey Stiller, the Chief Operating Officer and Director of Marketing for the Proctor Gallagher Institute, and your host for this week as we are getting you onto that millionaire frequency. Today is the most important lesson of not only the week, but of your entire success journey. It could be pivotal for you in getting on that millionaire frequency and creating the life that you really want to live. Now, we have a lesson from Bob. It's about 25 minutes long, all about decision. I want you to get a pen and a piece of paper. I want you to put your phone on silent, turn it over, set aside all distractions, and give Bob your undivided attention, because I want to be the first to tell you this lesson can absolutely transform the way that you look at decision making and change your life. Araj and I are going to meet you on the other side. He has an interesting perspective on this topic. We have something else we want to share with you, so hang tight. Bob's lesson is 25 minutes. I'm going to hand it over to him. We'll meet you on the other side.
Decision is the longest chapter in the book. It's one of the best. Most people have trouble making decisions. I've never made a decision for my kids. Never. Ever. Even when they were small. I just would not do it. I made them make their own decisions. I tell a story about Raymond, my youngest son. In school, he was a swimmer. And he'd get up, as most people know, if they're swimming in school, about 5 in the morning, and off they go to the pool to dive in that cold water. And so we'd hear Raymond get up and leave the house, and I went and watched a couple of meets, and he did very well. He was a big guy, relatively speaking to the other kids, and so the coach liked having him on the team. And I talked to the coach one time. He said Raymond was a good swimmer. Well, Raymond come in one day. Any parent understands this. It's where they come in, and I always say they're circling the field. You know they're going to lay something on you. You just don't know what the hell it's going to be. And he's saying, Dad, could I talk to you about something? I said, sure, Ray. What's up? Well, he said, I'm thinking of quitting swimming. I said, oh, yeah. I thought you liked it. Well, it's pretty good. And you're a good part of the team, aren't you? And he said, yeah. I said, well, why are you going to quit? Well, he said, I've been thinking about it. And he said, I'm not going to use swimming when I leave school. So I said, this isn't really important to the rest of my life. Well, that's probably true, unless you plan to be a lifeguard or something. And see, I knew what the problem was. It wasn't that the swimming. He didn't like getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Everybody else was sleeping. He's on his way to the pool. And so what he was doing was getting me to say, sure, Ray, go ahead, quit. I wasn't going to say that. I wasn't going to make the decision. And so he said, well, what do you think? And I said, I don't know, Ray. I said, I'm not on your swim team. That's your decision. Well, he said, you must have an opinion. I said, well, no. I said, no, then I don't have an opinion. I said, what would the coach think? Well, he said, I haven't talked to him. I said, I see. I said, I don't know. Well, he said, you must. He said, tell me what you think. And I said, no, Ray. I said, this is a decision you've got to make. You got to make this all on your own, Ray. Okay. So he muttered around and we back and forth a little bit. He was leaving. He said, well, it's okay then. I said, doesn't matter to me. Okay. So he was just about gone. I said, oh, Ray,
I said, you're having a lot of trouble with this, aren't you? He said, what do you mean? I said, you're having difficulty making this decision. Well, yeah. I said, you know something? Next time you go to quit, it'll be easier. And I said, you do this often enough, you're going to get a master at it. You'll have it beat. You'll be a master quitter. Yeah, all in the way he went. You see? But I wouldn't make the decision. Do you know most parents make decisions for their kids? And then when the kids get off on their own, they've got nobody to make a decision. Why do you think you have so many people say, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? And they're generally asking somebody that doesn't think. It's true. Listen to it. You'll have people that maybe you work with that you don't really know that well, and they'll say, what do you think I should do? Look at this. Analysis of several hundred people who had accumulated fortunes well beyond the $1 million mark disclosed the fact that every one of them had the habit, this is something you do unconsciously, of reaching decisions promptly and changing those decisions slowly, if and when they were changed at all. The others have a habit of reaching those decisions very slowly and changing them fast and often. I'm going to show you something about decision that you want to remember. It's very, very powerful. Let these lines represent levels of vibration. They're more commonly called frequency. Your phone operates on frequencies. You have your own frequency for your phone. If I have your number in my phone, it won't matter where you are. If I hit send, you're going to get the message. I could take a picture here, and I could send to you, and you could be in Hong Kong, and Singapore, Shanghai, Rio de Janeiro. Doesn't matter where you are, you would get the picture simultaneously with me sending it. Why? Because we're on the same frequency. There's an infinite number of frequencies. Why do you think we have millions of phones today? We didn't always have millions of phones. My goodness, we used to have, if you had a phone, you maybe had a party line where there was 20 people on the same line. We weren't aware of how to work with something that's already here. Energy. Well, levels of vibration are referred to as frequencies. Now get this, we think on frequencies. We think on frequencies. Thought waves are cosmic waves that penetrate all time and space. Let these little puffy clouds represent your thoughts. It's your thoughts that determine your results. We become what we think about is very true. Now, there are results, but we're spiritual beings. Our spiritual DNA is perfect. There's perfection within us. There's something in us that wants to express itself in a greater way. I don't care what you're doing. If you run, you want to run faster. If you jump, you want to jump higher. If you're selling, you want to sell more. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you want to do it better. That's the essence of you wanting to express itself in a greater way. The real you, this part that's in the center of your consciousness, wants to express itself in a greater way. That's where wants come from. So you'll say, that's where I am, but that's really where I want to go. I'm going to do that as soon as I get the money. I'm going to do that as soon as the kids are out of school. I'm going to do that as soon as, and soon as, and soon as. We're always going to do it when something changes in our results. Our results are never going to change because our thinking doesn't change. Well, pretty soon the decision dies, and along with it, so does the goal. Just fades. This is the way most people go through life. Right from the time they're children until they leave the planet. They never learn how to make a decision. This is why brilliant people sometimes, they don't go very far. You'll find other people that are not that brilliant and they build giant organizations. They know how to make decisions. You see,
You're thinking here on this frequency, that's where you're getting these results. And you're saying, that's where I want to go, there. Now, if you want to go there, you've got to get on that frequency. Your thoughts must operate on the same frequency as your goal. If you're on an AM frequency, you're not going to get FM music. Now, the problem with most people, they stay down here and wish up there. You've got to make a committed decision. A committed decision is you're going to do it regardless. Hill made a committed decision. You're going to do it regardless. When you do that, at that moment, you begin to think and act like the person you want to become. You stop thinking down on this lower frequency and you start thinking on the higher frequency. Now, where's the problem? Here's the problem. You got to be careful talking to people about what you're thinking, because they'll say, well, you're kidding yourself. You see, they see the results where you are. They can't see what you see. Earl Nightingale one time said, this great dream, this surging dynamic thing invisible to all the world, except to the person who holds it, is responsible for every great advance of humankind. The second you say, that's where I'm going, you leave the results you're getting. You leave that way of thinking, and you've got to start thinking that way. Want is the only prerequisite for making a decision. It doesn't matter whether you have the money. It doesn't matter whether you have the help. The only prerequisite to making a decision, do you want it? If you want it, that's it. You make a decision. Now, you've got to be a pretty aware person. You've got to be pretty tuned in individual to do that. That's why successful people make decisions so fast. They don't have to gather information. They don't have to come up with the financing. They don't have to get all the help. They just say, this is the way it's going to be. President John Kennedy asked Dr. Wernher von Braun in the early 60s what it would take to build a rocket that'll carry a person to the moon, bring them back safely to Earth. This had never been done. Nobody had thought of doing it. And here was von Braun's answer. The only thing you require is the will to do it. That's all you require, the will to do it. Now, what's that mean? Will is a mental faculty. Will is like perception, reason, intuition, memory. Will is the mental faculty that gives you the ability to hold one idea on the screen of the mind to the exclusion of whatever's going on around you. Just do not let go of your idea. I could spoil your week with some of the things that I've experienced since I took my pen that day in the house on Maplewood Lane in Glenview, Illinois, and say, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world. People look at it now, they have no idea what I went through. None. And there's no need of them knowing it. I knew all I had to do was make the decision. And whatever was required, I would get it. It would come to me. I would attract it. As you get to know some of the people in our company, we have some of the most phenomenal people working in this company that you're ever going to find anywhere. I mean, absolutely incredible individuals. This is very important. The only prerequisite for you to make a decision of what you're going to do is, do you want it? If you don't want it, don't go after it, because you won't have what it takes to get there. But when you really want it, and you understand where wants comes from the essence of who you are, the spiritual core of your being, the perfection that's within you. You're God's highest form of creation. There's nothing that will touch you. This perfection is seeking expression with and through you. Person should never retire. Retires pull back from life. If you want to be fully alive, you got to really want something. Most people are extras in their own movie. Your life is your movie. You want to be the star in it. We have a tendency as a people, and I honestly believe it's all programming, it's because we're programmed, to look at other people and think they can, but we can't. I don't know as we just necessarily say, I think they can, but we can't. But we see people doing things and we think, wow, that's really something. And we're sort of dazzled with what other people do from time to time. What we want to do is understand that this is our movie. And we've got to decide what we really want. We're the director of our own life. Now, you can say it's a shame we weren't taught this as children. Some children are taught this, but not too many. And it probably is a shame, but if we weren't taught, that's fine. That's part of the past. We're here, it's now, and we're capable of doing anything we want. I love the way Neville puts it. He said, the future must become the present in the imagination of the one who would wisely and consciously create circumstance. We must translate vision into being, thinking of into thinking from. And he said, imagination must center itself upon some state and then view the world from that state. Thinking from the end is an intense perception of the world of fulfilled desires. This is where we want to make our imagination go to work and start to see ourselves living the way we really want to live. Now, very few people do that. And they will tell you a host of ideas of why they're not able to do it. Frequently, money is the big hang-up. Money is never a problem. If you've got the right idea, you can always attract the money. Now, by the end of the week, your whole perception of what you're going to do and what you've been doing will probably shift. I mean, shift dramatically. No one knows what they're capable of doing. What we want you to do with that book that you've got is thoughts come to your mind, jot them down. We were giving out a different kind of book with all the slides in it that we use. And I don't know, we got thinking, I think Gina was one thought of it. She says, it's not important that you remember what we're saying. What's important is what you remember, what you're thinking as a result of what we're saying. Now think of that. That's what's really important. What's important is what you're thinking as a result of something we might say or do here. And this is where we want you to put it in this little book. And start jotting everything in there. Ideas that you're going to do. And something that you've learned that really cause you to stop and think. I have on many occasions suggested that a person read the chapter on decision every day for 60, 90 days. Same chapter over and over every day for 60 or 90 days. And it's always a good idea if you read it with someone. Now, the person doesn't have to be with you. They could be on the other side of the country because you can do it on the phone. Where you start reading and you get to a certain point and they're reading too,
and you get to a certain point and you say pass. They pick up right where you stopped and they start reading, and they go along, then they say pass and you pick up. That way, you're not only reading it and saying it, you're reading it and hearing it. But read it with someone. Sandy Gallagher and I read Getting into the Spirit of It for over a year, every day, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, birthday, every day. It was a marvelous piece of literature by Troward. Now, this is going to really make the difference for you. See, I never wonder if I can do something. I know I can do it. I just don't know how to do most things that come to me. If you want to find out why it won't work, you'll find that out. You'll find whatever you're looking for. If you want to find out how it will work, you'll find that out. What you've got to make up your mind is you're going to make it work. There's a 333 idea in the Born Rich book. If you don't have the book, go to our site and download it. You can get it for nothing. And so a group of people raised $3 million in 3 hours, 3 days after they thought of it. It was for a good cause. And so we frequently say 333 it. If a person is having difficulty doing something, 333 it. And you really make it happen. Now, if you're not really decisive, and I'm talking about the big things, and if you're just hoping everything works out really good for you, then you need this. I pick it up. Well, I read the book every day. I take it with me everywhere I go, and I sit on my desk, so every day I read it. And then you've got to mix it with discipline. Because decision without discipline, it probably turns into wishing. Discipline is to give yourself a command and then follow it. It's the ability to give yourself a command and then follow it. This I will do. I don't need anybody to agree with me. I don't need anybody to support me. It's nice when I get it, and I enjoy it, but that's not required. If I make a decision and it's going to happen, and I make up my mind it'll happen, I will always attract what I need when I need it. And so will you. Now, if it'll work for me, I had 2 months high school. I had no business experience, and yet I can earn millions of dollars. If I can, you can. I remember one day, you'll hear from Peggy McCall later, she phoned me one day and she said that she and Denny were out looking at houses, and they saw one they really liked, but she said it was $1 million more than we wanted to pay. I said, make the $1 million look small. She said, She's about 3 or 4 hours later, I get an email from her. It's got a book cover on it, Make $1 Million Look Small. I thought, that's a hell of a good book cover. You know? Well, then a couple of days later, she phoned me. She said, I got a great idea. She said, who is the guy up in Ojai? Gay Hendricks. He's written a lot of books. Pretty successful guy up in Ojai, California. Mary Morrissey. She says, why don't we get Gay, Mary, you and me, and we'll do a seminar and make $1 million look small. I said, yeah, that's cool. And we made $1 million in a weekend. You see? But we acted fast on a good idea. That's what Mark and Jack did with Chicken Soup. They acted fast on a good idea. They got locked into it. What did Von Braun say you needed? The will to do it. The will is the mental faculty that gives you the ability to hold one idea on the screen of the mind to the exclusion of all outside distractions or ideas. Now, you and I are constantly being inundated with ideas through our senses. See, hear, smell, taste, touch. It's flying into our mind. It's so easy to get off track. Most information that you pick up just as you go through your day is negative. It's very negative. Most people spend most of their time thinking of why things won't work. 90% of the population are locked into that. If you turn on your radio or your TV, the news, it's all negative. It's not good news, it's bad news. And people will sit and stare at it. Now, your mind works in such a way that if you're not thinking, your subconscious mind is wide open to impression. And whatever's going on goes right into your subconscious mind. You become totally deductive to whatever the environment you're in. It's very important that you mix with the right people. I am super selective about people that I spend a lot of time with. I don't think I'm any better than anybody. I think I'm a lot more fortunate than most, but I don't think I'm any better than anybody. There's just some people I don't want to be around them a lot. It's doom and gloom. It's bad times. I love what Earl Nightingale said. Don't talk about your health unless you're talking to a doctor. But you know, if you're not feeling well and you talk to somebody about it, you know what they're going to do? They're going to sympathize. What are they going to do? They're going to add more bad energy to the bad energy you're talking and thinking about. If you go to the doctor isn't going to give you sympathy. The doctor is going to give you direction how to get better. So don't talk about your health unless you're talking to a doctor. You might want to turn that into a little mantra in your mind. Well, here we want to learn to make decisions, and then we want to discipline ourselves. Now, this is what we want to get into this week. I want you to start dreaming about what you want, and then discipline yourself that you're going to execute it.
All right, Iraj, this is such an incredibly powerful lesson on decision. And so I'd like to ask you a couple of questions before you jump into your lesson on decision as well. What I want to know first is take us back 14 years and tell us the difference in your decision-making process then compared to now.
Oh, it's completely different because I'm a different person, number one. But my paradigm has changed so much around decision. I remember Bob told me, now I've gotten mentored by him the first 30 days. And he said, you are not very good at decision making. And he said, it was one of the most important lessons I ever learned from my mentors. You have to become a great decision maker. And I wouldn't say that I was as harsh as Bob was on me about the decision making. I didn't think I was great, but I thought I was okay, to make it best. But anyway, he said, the difference between winning and losing is decision making. And he says, nothing moves until you make a decision. And from that moment on, no different than what I was talking about yesterday with attitude, that was another idea that changed my life. When Bob said to me, it was one of the most important, if not the most important lesson he learned was decision making, I took it very seriously. So, it's so funny. I coach people all over the world, and I have some people say, you know what, Arash, I need to sleep on it. And right away, I educate them. See, sleeping on it doesn't make it better. And they'll say, Arash, that's just the way I've always done it. And what did we talk about yesterday? You have to create a new model that makes the old model obsolete. And I always tell them, I can't make a decision for somebody. But I want to educate them because I said, if you want more than what you have now, you have to change how you make decisions. Mm-hmm. And I don't care what the decision is. Some people should be saying no to things they don't make decisions on. So it's not always a yes, it could be a no. All week I've been telling you to accept and reject ideas. Well, you want to know, within a millisecond, if it's right for you. And I want everyone to really remember this because you know the truth because the truth resonates with the essence of who we are. The moment you freeze on decision making, you're letting the outside, you're letting the paradigm make the decision for you. And that is 100% proof of failing. I want to say that. It's a big statement. I know some people are probably taken back and saying, oh, that's harsh. I didn't make the rules. I know what Bob told me. He said, if you want to win, you have to make the decision and act on it within 30 seconds. He said, if you don't deserve to win. And, the last couple of years, he changed it to 3 seconds, 5 seconds. So he was always upping the ante.
Raj, I was just about to say, you and I are often laughing about how Bob, 14 years ago, it was 60 seconds. Then it turned into 30 seconds. Then it was 3 seconds in a snap. But he was not kidding. He was serious and he meant it. And he knew so much about the power of decision making. And we'll often get people asking questions during this call on decision saying, well, how do I be rational? I don't want to be irrational. So how can I be thorough? How can I really make a decision that's well thought through if I'm making it so quickly?
Yeah. What did Hill say? He said after studying 500 of the most successful people in the world, the one common denominator is decision making. Think about that. Out of 500 people, that were creating massive success, the one common denominator is decision making. So acting and not acting is going to show you where you're going. And we got to understand decision making, picking back off yesterday, is an attitude. Decision making is part of our image. Like, I want everyone to think there right now. Am I a great decision maker? Whatever that answer is going to tell you. But I will tell you that if you're going to create significant growth, significant change, significant fulfillment and freedom, you have to make being a great decision making part of your new image.
Yeah. We often get people who think that I'm going to sleep on it is a decision, or I'm going to do that as soon as my kids graduate is a decision, or I'm going to do that on Monday, or when I do this, or when I do that, when I graduate, whatever the story may be is a decision. That is not a decision. We talk in procrastination and delay an actual decision.
Procrastination creates failure. I want everyone to hear that. Planning to plan is from your paradigm. I'm going to do this when this happens. Yesterday, when we were at the end of the lesson that I did, we were talking about when you make a decision that is not committed, it's useless. And anytime you're saying, when this happens, then I'll do this, you didn't make a decision, your paradigm did. You're tricking yourself. You have to feel it, and I hope you get uncomfortable. Because if it's not uncomfortable, there's not a lot of good in it. If it's really uncomfortable, there's going to be a tremendous amount of good in it. But we've got to be able to feel the uncomfortableness and remember our goal of why we're making the decision. And that's why everything comes down to every lesson. It comes down to paradigms to get to understand you. It comes down to goals. If you don't have a goal, there's no reason to make a decision. It comes down to self-image and attitude, because you're going to have a significant image of yourself to create significant quantum leaps. And then it's going to come down to today. This one idea has changed my life so significantly because I worked so closely with somebody in Bob who imprinted it on me that that's all it was. I remember, I have a funny story about Bob. And my wife and I were going to look at this home. And, it was a big goal for us. And I told him about it, and it was more than I wanted to pay. And he was calling my wife every hour. And he's like, did he make the decision? Did you guys act on the decision? And we're in the process of negotiating. Then he called me. He goes, when are you going to make the decision? I said, I put in the offer. But literally every hour, it was between him calling my wife, Veronica, or him calling me or texting me, did you make the decision? When I tell you, he was so relentless about decision making and the importance of it. And if you didn't, when we're talking about goals, we talk about being relentless, having a relentless spirit towards the goal. Well, that starts with a decision. If you don't make a definite, irrevocable, committed decision, the goal will not happen. You will not accept that idea. And that is the starting process of achieving a life of fulfillment and freedom.
Absolutely. All right, Raj, I think that's a great point to jump into your slide. So I'm going to hand it right over to you, my friend.
All right. Thanks so much. Okay. Day 4, decision day. Yeah, I'm very, very excited about today. We planned such a great lesson because how important decision making is. I was just sharing some stories, and it gets me to laugh a bit because of how much Bob imprinted on me the importance of it. I remember he said, Raj, this was one of the most important lessons I ever learned. But he says, decision making is useless without discipline. You've got to stick to the decision. Even though you don't know how in the world it's going to turn out. every decision, you don't know how it's going to turn out. You know if you trust yourself, because you'll know if it's a right decision because it resonates with the essence of who you are and where you're going. And one of the lessons I always learned from Bob was, is there going to be a return on my investment, whether it's time, money, health, whatever it is, you say yes to. Because you want to understand the time is going to pass anyway. And we have a very short time on this planet, and we want to really take the most of it. So I'm very excited to share stories, share, these huge philosophies on decision making today. Before I get started, I'm going to present something to you later today that's going to have a huge impact on anybody who acts on it to take your lives to the top 1 to 3%, create a massive quantum leap. However, it's only going to be if you act on it. If you really go after everything we've been talking about, so we could take you by the hand and show you how to create a massive quantum leap for yourselves. Whenever I think about decision, it always starts here. We talked yesterday about creating a new model. This is what Socrates says. He says the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. And it's not just building the new, it's executing on it. You can build it in your mind, but you have to execute. Remember what we were talking about, attitude. 3 steps, your thoughts, your feelings, and your attitude. And when we go in decision, it takes me back, because you have to understand, I was struggling at the highest level, 14 years ago. And I'm sitting in a seminar called Create Your Own Economy. And I'm about to come out. The seminar is just about over. Bob's wrapping up. And I shared this on day 1, but I want to share it again, because even if it just impacts one person to do what I did, it will have a huge impact on the rest of your life. He said, I'm looking at this room, and he said, make a decision that this wasn't going to be just a great weekend. It wasn't going to be a great 3 days. Make a decision that you're going to be one of the people who choose that you're going to be in the top 3%. He said, if you leave here without following through with this decision, you're going to look back and it was a great week. And I encourage you today, think of what you want. Think about why you joined us. Make a definite decision that you're going to leave this event and you're going to make it and be a part of the top 3%, be of the top 1%. And I highly encourage you to do that. In order to do that, we've got to create a new model. Well, decision making, as I was speaking with Mikey earlier, it has to come with stretch goals. It has to come with discipline. What do you really want? Want is the essence of who we are. Your want right now is meant for you to be fulfilled. It is meant to do it if you stick with it. If you develop parts of your character, you develop your attitude, you develop your image, you develop commitment, you develop decision making. You really have this significant standard of your life. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. I am accepting this idea. I'm adopting it, and I am acting on this idea that I am a goal achiever, and I'm only setting stretch goals, and I'm achieving stretch goals. Now, when we talk about goals, going back to day 2, we said goal setting is an intellectual exercise. Goal achieving is a lawful process. Everything happens by exact and precise laws, and that means your goal happens by laws. That means you think and act like that person. As you do that, you're going to achieve what you really, really want. Now, when we talk about goals, we want to enter in the spirit of it. Enter in the spirit of falling in love with your purpose, falling in love with this new image, falling in love with this amazing goal of who you're going to become. Who do I need to become? Fall in love with that. Fall in love with the process of editing and constantly upgrading yourself, constantly upgrading your goals, upgrading your life, upgrading your business, upgrading every aspect of you. Now, I've said this with Mikey earlier. I've never heard of anybody creating a quantum leap in their comfort zone. If you're sitting there right now thinking, I'm going to continue doing exactly what I've done, and I'm going to create a massive quantum leap, I promise you, you're lying to yourself. You have to feel the uncomfortableness. You have to feel that little anxiety, and you have to stick with it, because if you are uncomfortable, so much good is coming your way. Think about it. I want you to think about something magical that's happened in your life. Right now, just think about that. I'm going to give you a second to put that in your consciousness. Now, did that happen in your comfort zone or out of your comfort zone? I know everything magical that's happened in my life never happened inside my comfort zone. I had to make decisions that made no sense to me. I had to take actions that I've never done before. You just lean in with a full heart and everything is going to work in your favor. Now, we've talked a lot about committed decision. You want to make an irrevocable committed decision. What does that mean? That means I am doing whatever it takes, not what's convenient. There's a great quote that when I was failing, that I really committed to acting every word of this out. I was an actor until I made this part of my self-image. And it's from Dr. Kenneth Blanchard. He said there's a difference between being interested in creating the life we want and being committed. He says when we're interested, we do what's convenient. When we're committed, we do whatever it takes. We accept only results, not excuses. Now sit there right now. And I want you to put it in the chat. I don't ask you guys to put a lot in the chat, but I want you to bring this into existence for you. Really put in the chat if you are ready to make an irrevocable, committed decision to create a massive breakthrough and really create a life of fulfillment and freedom. I want to give you a second to do that. Really own that. Own that idea. The more energy you put towards how you're going to live, creating that new model that's going to make the old model obsolete and executing that model. Now, I told you this earlier this week. We have a power always that's flowing through us. And we get to construct it and direct it any way we want. We could construct it towards scarcity, excuses, past stories, or we could originate this beautiful image that I'm so happy and grateful now that I am living my life in fulfillment. I have turned my annual income into my monthly income, and every thought that emanates from every cell of my being is abundant. It is an attitude of abundance. Now that power is flowing. You get to choose. You could choose one or the other. Every thought matters, and you want to remember that. Choose these thoughts of abundance. And when we talk about creating your own economy, I remember this was such a cool idea, and it was such a big idea. This is what we pride ourselves on. The Proctor Gallagher Institute, Bob, that's all he wanted to do for people is help them create more, enrich more people's lives, create a better life. But you absolutely, unequivocally can create your own economy. What did we say? Accept that idea, adopt it, sell yourself on it. When you do, that idea of freedom and fulfillment will be yours. Now, it's always about you. How well do you know you? Are you standing up to your old paradigm? Are you standing up to your old story? Are you making a decision? Listen, I am ready. I'm making a committed decision. I'm giving myself a command, and I'm going to create this massive breakthrough. Because this whole game of life, and it is a game once we learn the rules. And we've taught you a lot of rules this week. But this game of life is about you. It's not about me. My game is about me. Yours is about you. Don't you think it's time to make a decision to play bigger, to play much bigger version of yourself, to really work with a bigger idea, like Bob taught me, really work with this humongous idea of myself? My answer is it absolutely is. Now, in order to do that, we have to control the flow of what we're thinking. We have to always think from our goal. I don't think sometimes we got to think from our goal. We want to become a self-reliant person where we think from the goal and we explicitly trust ourselves. If you start trusting yourself 1% every day, you're going to have so much trust in 6 months of yourself. The flow is always happening, but like I said earlier, we get to control it. Most people who are out there, all the masses, they're letting the outside control the flow. I want you to make a decision that you're going to control the flow. Think and act like from the place of where your goal is. Think and act from the life you want to live, what you really want. Originate this beautiful idea and ask yourself every night, did I think like that person? Did I have the attitude of that person today? Did I have the discipline of that person today? Did I have the standard of that person today? And did I operate in that image? Did I go there? Remember, imagination will take you there. There is a place. Did I go there and stay there? How do I stay there? We make a definite decision every day. We're thinking and acting from that place. Now, your mind and thoughts must always operate from the same frequency of your goal. I want you to think of your goal right now. What are the qualities that I have to become? What are the qualities that you have to become? This is what we want to do. If we continue thinking from our present results, it is impossible to create more than what we already have. However, if we say, hey, I'm making a decision, it's not any type of decision, and I'm mixing discipline with it, and I know the price to winning is discipline and practice, discipline and practice, discipline and practice. What did we say? How do you knock your old paradigm on its butt? Repetition. Repetition is so illogical to the paradigm, and repetition is doing one thing 1,000 times. I am so happy and grateful now that I am turning my annual income into my monthly income. And you burn that idea through repetition over and over and over and over again. You're just dumping what you want into your subconscious mind. And your subconscious, remember, can only accept. It cannot reject. Now, you must think and act. Why do I keep saying this? Because as you think like that person, you make decisions from the person you want to be. Burn that in your consciousness. Imprint it in your consciousness. What did we say yesterday? We have to constantly edit and upgrade our image. Well, how do we do it? We continue making decisions at a 1% rate of increase. We get out of our comfort zone. We say, listen, if this guy Arash can do it, I definitely can do it. You know, this guy was struggling, and it was so obvious that he was struggling. And if he can do it, I absolutely can. And I tell you, it's going to take an impeccable attitude, acting on ideas, making definite, irrevocable decisions, altering your identity, disciplining yourself, and thinking and acting from that person. And listen, you don't need to discipline your activities. That will happen automatically. We discipline our thinking. We say yes or no to anything that is not in harmony. We say yes to everything's in harmony. If something is not in harmony with the person I want to become, with the goal that I want, I say no to. And that's how we develop a significant, absolutely amazing standard of ourselves. Now, this is a brain tattoo that whenever we talk about decision, it's from W. Clement Stone. You do it now. I want you to really hear me. Do it now. Make this your brain tattoo. W. Clement Stone was one of the most successful people in the world. He brought himself from failure to success, and he became partners with Napoleon Hill. They wrote a great book called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. Well, anyway, his motto was do it now, do it now, do it now. My motto is always say yes and say no if it doesn't feel right after you say yes. You know, do it now. Whatever you do, seize that moment. Seize that opportunity. Do not hesitate. Anytime you hesitate, you're opening the space because your paradigm comes in with a couple seconds. So you don't want to hesitate. Just ask yourself, if I do X, what will it do? Will it take me closer to where I want to go, further than where I want to go, or further backwards? And really make this part of you. Take action. Without action, your idea stays stillborn. You know, I remember, Bob and I, he called me one day. This was about, I don't know now, probably 10 years ago. Maybe it was 8 years ago. Anyway, he said, I want you to teach this to everybody you can. And I said, sure, what is it? He said, people come to me all over the world, and I'll be speaking at seminars. I'll do it online coaching. And he said, they always say, can you help me create a life of freedom? Can you help me create my ideal business? Can you help me create my dream home? And he always said, I always told him I absolutely can, but there's a prerequisite. He said, you have to act on a decision within 30 seconds. He said, if you don't deserve to win. He said, anytime you don't act on a decision within 30 seconds, you let your idea stay stillborn and you tell the universe to keep you stuck in reverse. He said, Arash, all these people will look at me so funny. They think I'm trying to sell them. He said, I can't help them until I sell them. And I'm not trying to sell them. I'm telling them how the laws of the universe work. Until you act on ideas, the ideas are going to be stillborn. So if you look at the people who win, they act on ideas right away. When I started winning, I started choosing in when I wasn't even ready. And that has been a part of my new image. And it's been part of my image for several years. But that is what I do. And that is where I'm going. So that is what will take you to act on ideas within a few seconds. Do the end of Bob's last few years when he told me, forget about the 30 seconds. You know when something is right because it resonates with the essence of who you are. One idea changed my life. I laugh at this because if I would have known how simple success was, I swear to God, I would have done it a long time ago. I made it so complicated. And complexity is the enemy of success. Simplicity is success's best friend. Success is just doing a few things. We've only talked about a few main parts of your character that you have to develop, from paradigms to goals, to being a goal achiever, to attitude, to discipline and self-image. But one idea changed my life. And this idea on decision making absolutely changed my life, because I can't imagine. You got to understand, I was $150,000 in debt, about to get married, and then I had to invest thousands of dollars to get mentored. And I said yes. It made no sense logically. But that idea of acting on that decision, I don't know where I would be today. And then it was the idea that changed my life on serving, on using this to help more thousands and thousands of people. And then I found my purpose. All these one ideas changed my life. Now, this is so important to understand. And decisions or lack of them are responsible for making or breaking everything you desire in your life. People who have become very proficient at making decisions without being influenced by the opinion of others are the same people whose annual incomes falls into the top income category. I want you, I'm speaking directly to you. Are you one of the few, or are you one of the masses who let other people's opinions influence your decision making? Or do you know yourself so well that say, no, I am making a decision because this is where I'm going? And this is very important to understand. I'm going to say it one more time. Decisions, or lack of them, are responsible for making or breaking everything you desire in your life. People who have become very proficient at making decisions without being influenced by the opinion of others are the same people whose annual incomes falls in the top income category. Now, I want you to own this big money. I want you to have so much money in your life because that tells me how much you're enriching other people. I want so much good. And if you're rejecting this, that's your paradigm. That is your attitude towards money. Money is not good or bad. Money is a report card to the good that you're doing in the marketplace. The more money you have, that means the more good you've done, and there's so much more good you're going to be able to do. Big money is your birthright. I said on day one that freedom is your birthright. Well, money is your birthright, and go do so much good with it. Go change so many people's lives. Go change millions of people's lives in putting so much good out there. What did we say? To create wealth, we said this yesterday, to create wealth, you need to know two things: where I am, where I'm going, and get to work. What is wealth? Wealth is a reflection of your character. It's a reflection of your thinking. Think and act like that person. Develop the attitude and go enrich millions of people's lives. Now, if we're going to create the big money, we really want to understand this law. The law of compensation clearly states the amount of money you earn will always be an exact ratio to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there will be in replacing you. I want you to really see this. The amount of money you're earning right now is a direct reflection of the service you're rendering in the marketplace right now. That's what the marketplace is telling you that your value is. Now, focus on your ability to do it. Become a master at what you do. Spend 10,000 hours, spend 100,000 hours mastering your craft. Every day, keep mastering your presentations. Keep mastering your skill at whatever you're doing. Your ability to do it is going to make you the outlier, and it's going to get you into the 7, 8, 9, 10-figure incomes. Become a master at what you do. Napoleon Hill said this, and I was saying it with Mikey earlier. He said, analysis of several hundred people who had accumulated fortunes well beyond the $1 million mark disclosed the fact that every one of them had the habit of reaching decisions promptly and of changing these decisions slowly if and when they were changed. People who fail to accumulate money, without exception, have the habit of reaching decisions, if at all, very slowly, and of changing these decisions quickly and often. What did we say? If you're planning to plan, I'm going to sleep on it. What is this? Very slowly and then changing these quickly. Really choose in. Do not allow the paradigm to make the decision. Let your desire make your decision. Is my desire driving my decision? If the answer is no, I promise you, your paradigm is. And you want to become illogical. Illogical is the prequel to creating a massive quantum leap. Logic creates doubt. Logic creates overthinking. And I know my analytics out there, I'm telling you, just for the moment, study decision making, let this idea change your life, and put your analytical mind in your pocket just for a minute, just for the next hour, just for the next opportunity to act on decisions. You're going to see how much it'll absolutely create massive jumps in your results. Now, when I talk about one idea, I remember when I had been getting coached by Bob, and he said, you need to get in this industry. He said, this industry changed my life. He said, Arash, this idea has used me. I was telling you earlier, I had all these one ideas have used me. Well, me getting in this, studying it so closely where other people can understand, where I can explain it to others, changed my life. And this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. I'm going to keep passing it forward just like Bob did with me and did with millions of people. Now, this one idea absolutely changed my life. Now, I told you I was going to offer you and present something later on that would show you how to create a massive quantum leap. Well, we have a consulting program for anybody this week. If you have been thinking, man, I really want to partner with these people and really create and teach this to people. Well, we have an opportunity where we have a training where you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And we literally take you by the hand and show you how to create your own coaching business with an absolute foolproof system that's already set in place. People sit back, they go foolproof if you work the ideas. If you don't work the ideas don't work. If somebody was going to go create their own coaching program on their own, in terms of testing the material, in terms of branding themselves, in terms of creating the workbook and the content, you're going to spend well over $150,000 if done eloquently and properly. Now, with us, we have an unlimited training, just like Bob got in the industry with the Nightingale Conant Company, where you have a product that you are going to coach your clients through, which is called Thinking into Results, which is based off of 61 years of Bob's training of what he taught millions and millions of people. Sandy actually put it together, and it's created so much impact in the world. And, I always tell people there's 3 key components of this training. Number 1, we teach you how to master the material. Number 2, we teach you how to market yourself, how to present the material, how to really help people. And number 3, we teach you how to build a long-term successful coaching business. Now, the coaching industry itself, it's a relatively new industry. It's only 50 plus years now, and it's a $12 billion industry. You have all these things happening in the world, but our industry, the personal development industry, the leadership industry, absolutely continues to soar. And if anybody is interested in this, you want to really take a look at this and let us help you build your own business. Imagine if every day you woke up on just working on getting better, working on how to help people. Well, that is what this business opportunity we provide. The second opportunity, we were going to do this just for Bob's birthday. Bob's birthday was last month in July. And we created a program that, we handpicked lessons from Bob, the best of Bob. People who did, the lessons come from programs that people paid $30, $60, all the way up to $150,000 to do over the last 20 years. And we created 12 lessons, an elite level coaching program that really was the best of Bob. You're going to get so much. These are things that Bob never taught in the public. You're not going to find it on YouTube. It was really from a high level of somebody who wanting to really create a massive change. And this is another opportunity where we take you by the hand and show you exactly what to do and how to do it. Mikey, I'd love for you to come in with me. You and I work so closely with Bob, and I would love to hear what you think.
Absolutely, Araj. Bob knew what we now know, which is that this is the absolute best industry in the world. And time after time, we have people coming to our events or coming to these 5-day events, and they are inspired by the information they're hearing. They're seeing these videos of Bob and Sandy. They're seeing you and Monica deliver such powerful, life-changing information, thinking, I want to do that. I want to pass this information on. You can earn money doing that. It's like mind-blowing, but yes, and it's the best industry in the world. Like Araj said, this is exactly how Bob got into the industry 50 years ago. And it's such a great opportunity because when you're starting a coaching business, there's a lot to consider. What are you going to coach? How do you set your business up? And so this is really a way to get into the coaching business and be in business for yourself, but not by yourself, and have everything you need to get started and start earning money right away as a coach in this industry, and really get some edification right away because you're getting to lean into the Proctor Gallagher brand. What Bob built over 60 years and Sandy with this Thinking into Results program is absolutely incredible. And then I also just want to touch on Best of Bob, because we had no intention of offering this program beyond July last month for Bob's birthday, but we have gotten such an overwhelming positive response for this program. It's truly incredible. We have handpicked 12 incredible lessons that are the best of Bob. Like Araj mentioned, they're not online. They're not on YouTube. They were some of our highest level programs, handpicked each one to string them together and put strategy behind them and worksheets. And it's just a really top-notch coaching program. Araj, I think we should offer a bonus for everyone who listened intently to the decision lesson today and understands what Bob taught us about making a decision just like that. So why don't we get everybody who makes a decision right now to invest in either consulting or Best of Bob 2 months in our Inner Circle program?
No, that sounds great. I mean, we did that last month as well because it's such an opportunity. Inner Circle, Mikey, we study it so closely. Inner Circle was really studying with Bob deeply. And it's such a huge opportunity where you're going to learn how Bob takes ideas so deeply to bring them so simply into your life. And I remember when we created Inner Circle, Bob would always talk to us. I know Sandy and I used to talk about this. He'd always talk to us. I was in Earl Nightingale's Inner Circle. He said, I just wanted to study with Earl. I wanted to read every book. I wanted to see how Earl implemented ideas. And then years ago, we ended up implementing this, not knowing how it would be. And we called it Inner Circle. And it had such an impact on our students to really create a massive quantum leap in their life. And that's what you will get. You'll get 2 months every week for 2 months. And you will really study with Bob. You'll study how he studied. You'll learn how he put things in his mind. You'll get to see how funny he was when he was teaching this and how deep he took it and just what a master he was. So that is a huge opportunity.
Absolutely. He'll take something like a piece of literature, entering into the spirit of it from 100 years ago, and that he's read 10,000 times, and you'll get to see how he takes one page and completely dissects it, and then how he pulls things out to implement. It is genius and incredible the way that Bob would take such big ideas and reduce them and simplify them so that we could understand them and take action right away. So I agree. Inner Circle, best of the best.
All right, great. Thanks, Mikey. I still have a few ideas on decision that I want to share
Sure.
to really wrap this home for everybody. Now, we talked earlier about creating your own economy. Now, becoming a consultant is one opportunity to create your own economy. Best of Bob is another. We have so many opportunities to create your own economy, whatever it is you want. I will tell you, if you work the ideas, follow the direction that we give you, you're going to absolutely create your own economy and really working on those ideas. And burn this idea in your mind. If you work the ideas work. If one person does it, then anybody can do it. Now, do you want to create your own economy? My answer is a resounding yes for me. And I hope that's for you. Like, literally think about this. Imagine you lived your life on your own terms. That all you did is did what you love every day. Well, that's the opportunity that you have in front of you with the consulting, with mentorship that we didn't even get into. Mentorship that we do is very elite level mentorship. And I always call mentorship a cheat code. It teaches you not what to think, but how to think. Now, when we look at this, the lines of frequency, levels of vibration are often referred to as frequencies. Let's pay close attention now. We think on frequencies. Now, this is where your results are right now. My results are down here. My goal is much higher. Now, I don't know how I'm going to get to my goal. Like, how do I get there? I have to think and act like that person. Now, we know that we're not going to say, I'm going to make a decision, but we're going to let the results control my decision making. Well, that means the paradigm made the decision. And I say, hold on a second. I'll do this when this happens. That's not what we are here. We're creating a massive breakthrough, creating a life of complete freedom and fulfillment. So we know that our mind and thoughts cannot operate on the frequency down here. However, now we're saying, okay, this is what we're doing. My mind and thoughts have to operate from my goal. Well, how do I get them to operate from my goal? I make an irrevocable, committed decision. What did Bob teach me? Any decision without commitment and discipline is useless. We've made an irrevocable, committed decision. And now, all of a sudden, I'm thinking like the person I want to become. I am thinking that I have created my own coaching business that is transforming thousands and thousands of people's lives. I am studying the best of Bob. I am dissecting this man. I am studying him like a scientist. And I am thinking and acting because that's how I'm going to make my home where my goal is. How do I do that? With discipline, with attitude, with altering the paradigm. And we want to burn it in our mind. Without altering the paradigm, the results won't change. We can't make decisions that are on the old paradigm. What did we say? That old story is outdated. Now, want is the only prerequisite for making a decision. Burn this in your mind. The only prerequisite is, do I want it? Somebody might say, well, I don't have the money. You'll find the money. When you make a decision, your mind focuses on how you can, not why you can't. Burn that idea in your mind. It will transform your life. That is why, like Napoleon Hill talked about, successful people make decisions so fast. And that's also why I love when Bob used to always talk about Dr. Warner von Braun. He told President Kennedy, all you need to make a decision to go to the moon was the will to do it. Well, all I need to achieve our goal is the will to do it. And once you have the will, everything will take care of itself. That's the only thing you need to do is have the will to do it. Do I really want it? Am I making an irrevocable, committed decision? Now, once again, I want you to think about you. You're sitting back there saying, I really want to get the right help. I want to get the right mentorship with the Proctor Gallagher Institute. Well, we want to understand that. There's an idea that has your want. There is more for you to do. That want communicates to our conscious mind through our imagination. And if you reject the idea right away, nope, I'm not going to do it. You'll let fulfillment and freedom pass away. However, if you accept that want and not let it go and say, my want is the only thing I need to do, and I just have to nourish my want. My wants come from the essence of who I am. That means I can turn my annual income into my monthly income. I can turn my annual income into my weekly income. These are things as you develop your imagination, develop your new paradigm, develop your new image, get the right decisions, be directed by and surround yourself with A+ performers. Guess what happens? Your want, nourished over and over and over again, is going to turn into a desire. What did we say all week? What did Bob say? What have I said? What have Sandy said? Once you turn it over to a desire, the whole universe conspires on your behalf to make your desire a reality. It shifts your vibration. Your vibration dictates what you attract. And guess what? Your conditions, circumstances, and environment change. Now, the result changes, and all of a sudden, I look back, and that breakthrough event that I did for 5 days absolutely was a springboard to creating a life of complete fulfillment and freedom. It's time to create a new model, but not just time. Act on it, execute it. Really go to that. What is the 2 things we need to know once again to create wealth? We need to know where we are, we need to know where we're going, and we need to get going. We need to get going and act on that decision. Now, I will tell you, I know this works because it's worked for me. And I think millions of people will tell you this worked. And I will tell you, and I'm talking to you, make the decision that I did years ago. Become one of the top 1 to 3%. Act on your decisions. Say yes to yourself. And I look forward to really celebrating your wins and your successes. I promise you, anybody can do it. If one person can create what you want, you can do it. If one person like me who was struggling can do it, you can do it. And I promise you, the only thing people are missing, and it takes me back 14 years to what Bob told me, was the right direction. Invest in you. Invest in thinking properly. Remember, to become a great thinker, it's not what you think, it's how you think. And as you do that, you're gonna see your investments are gonna be rewarded. And what we do today, the decisions I make today, the decisions you make today are gonna create your future results. Now, I wanna pass this on to Monica, and I'd love for Monica to share with you some stories on her decision-making process, where she was, because as I said in day 1 and day 2, she is absolutely so remarkable. I know you guys know that because you've seen it. And Monica's absolutely such a bright light, and you really want to pay close attention to her. All right, Monica, I am going to turn this over to you, my friend.
Wow, wow, wow. That was absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, Arash. I definitely will share with you guys some stories of the decisions I've made because, well, first off, the best decision I ever made was allowing myself to find the right mentor and allowing myself to be coachable. I used to be terrible at decision making. I'm listening to Arash teach this lesson, and it brought me back to so many different memories of how I used to make decisions, and I didn't make them. I would definitely ask so many people other things, what I should do. I couldn't even decide if we went to a new restaurant, what I should eat. I would ask everybody else on the menu, if it was a new restaurant. Decision making for me was not easy at all at the beginning. However, I practice it. I worked on trusting myself, and the majority of this foundation on decision for me was really getting comfortable with who I really am and understanding me. Now, I'm very good at making decisions. I'm trusting myself. This lesson was just as much for me as it is for all of you today, because I definitely want to get better at it. However, I'm so proud of how far I've come. There are so many keys to success, but this really is, in my opinion, the key to all successes is decision making. You have to first decide you want to be successful. You had to decide this week to show up every day and do the exercise. Doing the exercise is a decision as well. This is such a fundamental lesson to understand, and success is not going to fall in your lap. Sitting at home studying, you must take that action. Decisions are going to be a critical part of your journey, and most people do misunderstand it. I think today a lot of you have so much more clear understanding of decision making and the impacts it has on your life. And I want you to have this lesson really stick with you. Okay. Arash said you must take action. Make action part of your identity, part of your image. What does this mean? That means you're consistently taking action, moving towards your goal with laser focus. You're committed. You decide to do whatever it takes to achieve your goals. You build the success pillars. You build your identity. You build, like we talked about yesterday, the attitude. A relentless spirit. That's a decision. A relentless spirit will not start until you make that decision. Decision making is useless without any of the discipline. Okay, you must be disciplined. These are all great traits and qualities of someone who has become a great master decision making. Okay, decision maker. Use some of the tools also, what we've covered with you throughout this entire week to help you with some of the paradigms that might try and block you. when you're thinking and acting like that person. When you're wanting to make a decision, use that tool. I'm going to think and act like that person. Okay, you want to use your higher faculties. This is another tool you have available to you. Guarding your mind against any sort of toxicity. Nothing is going to happen until you make that decision and start to move. Practice and execute. Decision making starts with those small decisions. They were joking about Bob saying first 60 seconds, then 30 seconds, and then 10 seconds and 3 seconds. But it's true. The more you get to understand you and know you, you'll be very, very good at making decisions because you're going to trust yourself. This will make the bigger decisions easier. And Arash said it today, it's discipline and practice, discipline and practice, discipline and practice. This is what's going to create freedom for yourself. You got to practice this. But once we start to act on something, things are going to start to move very quickly. Your momentum's going to pick up. It's like you become this magnetic force, okay? And if you don't make decisions fast, well, guess what's going to happen? That paradigm is going to come in. It's going to win. Most people are operating that way. They're letting their present results. They're letting the outside in. And that's how they're making their decision. That's not what we're teaching you, okay? We want not let that paradigm make the decisions. It's not enough just to say, oh, I'm going to do this. Now you have to back that up with the action. So this entire week is about shifting your thinking into the right thinking. And goals are impossible to create and achieve without making those sound decisions. Like I said, you have to make a decision to show up. You have to make a decision to do the exercise. You have to make a decision to get uncomfortable. This is a skill, and it's part of anyone's identity who's winning at life. And they're constantly building it bigger and bigger and getting better at it every day. And when I look back on my old me to where I am today, I personally know I would much rather boldly face fear to have this amazing life more than staying painfully comfortable. And if I don't constantly make decisions that stretch me, I'm going to go backwards. We're talking about that C-type goal, that stretch. Once you achieve one of those C-type goals, you're going to set a new one, another C-type goal. You're going to constantly get into the habit of stretching yourself, because if not, you're going to go backwards, and there's no in between. Okay. Do not let that paradigm come in and cause you to shrink. Okay. You have to stand up to that paradigm. And remember, that paradigm, it's like a bully. If you're feeling fear, great, you're on the right path. If you're feeling excitement and fear, that's good. But remember that you got to stand up to that paradigm. And, if you are feeling fear, I told someone this morning, great, that's a gift. It just means you're ready for growth. And this is really powerful. If you're scared, totally normal. That is normal. You're going beyond what you're currently doing. You're going beyond this comfort zone that you're sitting in this box. So you can now probably see how setting and making decisions is not just going to affect your income. It affects all areas of your life. Your whole life is dominated by the decisions you make every single day. Your health, your mind, your body, your well-being, the well-being of your family, the relationships you have with your family, your social life. All of that has come down to your ability to make firm decisions and not wishing and hoping. Like Napoleon Hill says, that has no power. Wishing and hoping has no power. And for those of you who are overthinking, okay, that used to be me. Arash wanted me to tell you some stories and, about me and making decisions. Well, I used to overthink everything. I used to, in fact, overthink the overthinking. And I would take a long time to make decisions or being on the fence. And I remember having a conversation with Bob and Arash, and they said, that's the worst spot to be in. If you're on the fence, it's the worst spot to be in because you're making a decision about being indecisive, So trusting yourself, you already know what you want to do. You just got to trust yourself and go after it. That's when I really start to practice becoming a great at not asking anyone about their opinions, but I start to trust myself. And now that I know every time I take that action, I make a decision, I take action, I increase my confidence. So going back to, if we think from our current paradigm, if we look at what keeps showing up, then you're going to keep getting more of the same, because you're never going to go farther than that paradigm. So I challenge everyone today, start making decisions from that new paradigm. We want to make decisions from that new set point, not from where we're currently at right now. We must think outside of that, where our current paradigm is at. Okay. And I look back on my life, which has changed so dramatically the road I traveled, to where I am today, it did not come from being good at making decisions. It came from being absolutely phenomenal at making decisions and having the courage to jump on them, having the courage to get out of my comfort zone. But trust me, at the beginning, this was not easy. It's much easier now because I've developed a great relationship with it and I've practiced it so many times. I developed that trust with myself. So if you start making these decisions quicker with the smaller things, those big decisions, when you encounter them, you'll be able to make them very, very quickly and trust themselves and be proud of what you're facing as well. So if you want to create what you started with us this week, which we first started with our wants, turned into a goal, none of that's going to be fulfilled until you decide to act upon it. So I want you to really anchor in this lesson, because once you really understand the power it has behind it, you'll be having a whole new lifestyle change and freedom, mental freedom for yourself. So I do want to go through the offer today. And just so you guys know, for everyone who enrolls into any of our programs, you cannot just do it online. You must go through one of our success advisor. You can't just do it. You can't do it any other way. Okay. So make sure you book a call with our success advisor, have a strategy call. That's the only way that we're going to give you some direction, support, and get you on the path, the right path into achieving your goals and creating much more momentum into your goals. So the offer today, I'm just going to echo what that offer is. You have an opportunity to do what Bob has done, to do what Arash is doing, to do what I'm doing, what we're doing here, what like thousands of other people are doing, where you partner up with us and you become a coach, consultant, and you start your own business with the Proctor Gallagher. And you're going to leverage over 60 years of our experience and Bob's experience, Sandy, our entire team. You're going to be leveraging all of our years' experience to really set you up to win. And like Arash mentioned, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And we mentor you. We don't teach you what to think. We teach you how to think. So we really set you up to really win in such a big way. And the training is ongoing. The training is very complete. It's turnkey. And I think this is so important, because people starting out in a new business, if they've never done this before, they don't know how to start. So what happens is we teach you how to really take you from where you are to where you want to go. We teach you how to market yourself, how to brand yourself properly, how to master all the materials so you can teach them to individuals, groups, businesses, offline or online. And we teach you how to build a long-term successful business for yourself. That's why I personally know that this is such a beautiful opportunity. Anyone who partners up with us and become a consultant, that you're in business for yourself. You're not trying to be Bob or Monica or Arash. We're bringing out the best version of you. However, you get to use the leverage. You get to build the characteristics that you admire and see in us and build them into yourself as well. And you have the edification of the Proctor Gallagher name backing you up with the experience as well. And the next one was the best of Bob, and this is where, like Mikey and Arash said, where we have carefully handpicked and selected our top lessons on how to create a massive quantum shift. 12 amazing, important lessons that's going to set you up to really win. And this is where anyone previously had paid anywhere between $30,000 and $150,000 to do originally. You're going to be showing step-by-step things that you'll never find on the internet on how to create that quantum leap. And the bonus offer was, if you become a consultant or you are going to enroll in the Best of Bob, you have 2 months of Inner Circle as well. And that is going to be until Monday at midnight. So the assignment for today is going to be around decision. And we're going to send you an article on decision where Bob wrote. And again, we're going to practice the repetition around this. So I want you to read this article 3 times. And I want you to take your biggest takeaways from this article that you've read. And I want you to attach your success advisor with your biggest ahas, your biggest realizations. Part 2 to this is the game changer, is where I want you to act on a definite decision today. Something that you've been procrastinating, or something probably you heard today, or something this week that is going to help you take you to your C-type goal. I want you to take that action today. Act upon something, make a decision today, and you go off all over and you really boldly face that one action step that you want to take that's going to help you. Get into the habit of the doing. Okay, we don't want you to just to study. We want you to start to really adopting these new habits right away. And you want you to become that person moving you towards your goal. Well, that's it for today. Today was so important. Make sure you go back and watch today's lesson. And then you can join me later on today at 2 p.m. At Eastern Standard Time, where I'm going to be interviewing DP. He's one of, this is going to be incredible. It's so much fun interviewing DP. We're going to share our lessons on today's lesson as well, what we have personally learned on decision making. We'll see you at 2 p.m.